Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today, taking a look... oh boy, this is going to be a good one, isn't it? Today, taking a look at Carrot Top Mountain. Already starting things off well. 24 by 24. This map is humongous. You can see the absolute scale of this thing. Definitely one of those maps that's going to be really prevalent for, or rather raiding units are going to be really prevalent. We're going to see a lot of fast-moving light units moving around the defensive structures to try and engage the enemy on odd angles or different fronts, that sort of thing. Other notable geography features on this map, of course, are the little carrot tops with geothermal vents coming out the top of them. Very, very nice. Kind of cinematic, that view right there. You get the nice horizon in the background with the carrot tops sticking out. Very cool. But of course you have to have an air constructor to do that, so we're going to have to take a look here at our teams and see if any of them go for air labs. Our red player for our red team spawning on the western side. Wad. The name Wad. That's pretty funny. You know, you hear like spit wad, turd wad, I don't know. You can like throw wad on the back of anything and basically make it an insult, but you never ever just hear the word wad, and something about it just seems so out of place, and I absolutely love it. Kudos to you, Wad. You have my respect for such an interesting name. Now on the blue team, spawning way up north, we have our blue player, Del Duke of the Duke. Del Duque, maybe? Either way. Del Duke up here in the northern half, going for a vehicle lab, pumping out a couple of those rovers. Very, very nice. I do love to see that early aggression. In fact, winning, oh, actually, maybe not. It might actually be Watch Me Do This, winning the Brightworks Academy Award for getting the first unit out on the field. Those ticks look like they had made it just a bit further than those rovers had. So actually, Watch Me Do This. Phenomenal work. You are the player of the game this time for getting that early unit out. Wad making sure to push forward as quickly as possible, secure this frontal area, going to run headfirst into a tick, so if this is not microed properly, this could be the end of this tick's miserable existence. Indeed, it will run right into a commander. At the very least, scouting the commander, but definitely could have been quite a bit more efficient there. And Wad will be uncontested as he pushes forward here. Del Duke getting a nice scout off, figuring out where these enemies' bases are. Finds the commander over here. Let's actually switch to Duke Vision. We haven't actually seen the base yet because, of course, it's up on this hill. So you don't have line of sight until you actually get up there. But the rovers are moving around the back line here. We can see them harassing different things, trying to find any exposed structures or builders or anything really that they can find. There's an air lab back here, so you know this player is definitely going to be exposed to early harassment. So this is a huge play, making sure that this player is harassed, going to stall out any of those early aircraft. We do see it's a Cortex player, so right away you're expecting bombers, you're expecting shurikens, you know, all that good stuff. Bad stuff for Duke, but hopefully some anti-air turrets come up at the site of that air lab. Now, do we have an air lab out for this team? It doesn't look like it. Nobody in any spot I would expect has an air lab. None of the backliners. We don't have a frontliner with an air lab, right? Yeah, so no air contestation for the... Is contestation a word? No air contest for the blue team here. So for the most part, those air units are going to have free reign so long as there's no anti-air towers built. Some more ticks moving through. I do love to see that. It's one thing to get that tick scout in the early game, but you definitely step it up to the next level if you continue your tick harassment. You continue moving those ticks around, finding openings, and making sure that they continue to be a pain in the neck for the enemy team. Getting a tick back here, and you could even... this is an air lab as well, so we actually have 2 air labs for the red team. That does mean that this entire base is pretty exposed here. This single tick could definitely take down, I mean, at the very least, it could take down this this wind column here. Just chip a few of those down and then blast one of them, chain react the rest of them, and they all go boom. Definitely possible. This is a rather longer game, so we're probably going to have to skip through some of it here. I'm going to speed up to 2x speed. And we'll watch from a high ground vision, high point vision, just to see if anything interesting occurs. A little bit of action down here in the bottom half. See some grunts versus some incisors. We see a fighter here, used to scout this area. That's kind of interesting. Medium tank versus some incisors. A lot more vehicles than we usually see on this map. Usually this is a very bot-heavy map because of the terrain difficulties of moving those bots, or rather moving those vehicles around on the slopes. Bit of aggression here. Pawns versus grunts. Again, there's always that micro potential for grunts, right? You always want to be retreating them away from pawns. Wonder in quite a bit of trouble here. A bunch of grunts find the commander. They're not interested, though. They're just going to run past. I think we definitely could have sniped down the commander. Maybe it's a strategic choice to deny Wonder the metal economy of that commander. I'm not sure. I think I would probably take the commander kill. It's at the very least going to stop that commander from pushing the front line. And Hoda is very pushed up here, so definitely could go reclaim all that commander wreckage, or at the very least go destroy it. I think that'd be very, very useful. We see units getting into the back lines of all these different players here, all over the place, causing quite a bit of mayhem. Bombing run coming out here, and it's a single bomber, and it's not actually bombing anything. It's a scouting bomber. This is actually the new meta. You're going to be scouting with your bombers, and then you're going to be suiciding your scout craft into the enemy base to cause bomber damage. Wow, that bomber took out a radar dish. So for its trouble, I guess it managed to give us something. More bombers coming out here from this southern player. We got quite a queue of bombers here, actually. Wonder what the total bomber count is here. Looks like 8 so far, and we're waiting for more. I think it's definitely time to mix in a few scouts as well. And that bombing run is going to go much better. What happened to the music? That was weird. Music just shut off all of a sudden. Don't want to leave you guys alone in here with me. You can have a little bit of music in the background. The music for this game is an absolute banger. Those deep echoing rumbles. You know what the music reminds me of is Subnautica. That is one of my all-time favorite games. I absolutely love Subnautica. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying game. But man, is it a beautiful one. Really, just so much love and passion went into making Subnautica, and I just, every time I get a chance to look at that game or play that game, I take it. Definitely one of my favorites. Very similar soundtrack, though. Very, like, wavy, very big, dramatic scores, all that sort of stuff, which is very cool to see. We're going to go up to 4x speed here, as the front lines have basically been discovered. We have an agitator out here. Very agitating, as the name might imply. Going to be bursting down a lot of the defenses here. Built up on this hill, so it actually gets a pretty tremendous range. Radar jammer comes up, though, to mostly stop the harassment from that agitator, at least via artillery, or rather, radar vision. Some missile trucks built in here, trying to help the front lines. We've got anti-air, we've got heavy laser turrets, and we now have jamming, so this base is pretty much complete. Very, very nicely done. So what's the plan here? Do we have somebody who's teching? That's another thing. This commander has been latched onto this constructor bot for some reason. Where the bomber run comes through. Okay, they wipe away a lot. They wipe away an in-progress fusion reactor, which is quite nice. Wipe away a whole bunch of that base. Going back for seconds. Yep, they burn down the advanced bot lab, turn it to smithereens. That's always very nice. A little bit of a hit here, didn't get too much damage in. A couple more, but yeah, they don't manage to do too much of an effect for on the northern side. So for the most part, purple is the one suffering here. Quite a lot of damage to the backline for purple there. Going to have to recover most of the space. Wow, that's kind of a... Oh, we're resurrecting. Okay, I thought we were reclaiming here. I was going to say that's sort of a dick move. Yeah, I think the plan here was to give this lab back to Wonder, but Wonder just went and built his own in the same amount of time. Yeah, oh well. Oh, okay, this is the plan for Hot Pink here. We're just going for grunt spam here. Pawn spam, rather. We don't really have the economy to fund this. it takes like 100 metal to fund 4 of these consistently, and yeah, we are nowhere near that. We're still stalling on energy here, converting it as fast as we can. I think we should probably abandon these 4 down here, or these 3 maybe, and all of these construction turrets, and just build some more economy. Then I think you have the right idea to start spamming out some units, try and probe. Really, that's what those units are for, is probing the front lines for any weak points. Do you see a commander goes down here? Actually, it's Salmon's commander. Paulus? I think that's Paulus. Or Pow. Pow1, Powlicious. Powlicious, we'll call you Powlicious, that sounds fun. Recluses here being a pain in the neck for these units. Recluses are really bad at hitting moving targets, though. They're definitely like a siege unit. They can do a lot of damage when they hit their target, but yeah, they're very bad at it. We see Webbers here, too. This is the Spider Army. Oh, boy. Recluses, or rather the Webbers here, probably to eat up some of the metal. I think that's always a nice idea. Shiva is being pumped out of the back line here for the red team, specifically from the yellow player. Fatal Baguette. Very, very cool. Coming in from France, representing their critical hit. Watch Me Do This, moving the commander boldly to the front line here. I don't think Watch Me Do This has seen the Shivas out yet, so this is a bit of a blunder. He sees it now and goes into full retreat immediately. Yeah, those Shivas, they hurt. They hurt bad. Ooh, the AoE getting dangerously close to the commander there. I think you move the commander in. I think you got to take care of these Shivas. Ooh, instead taking care of your own forces. Wiping them away in your own nuclear explosion. Yeah, that hurts quite a bit. We see the fighters are sent in. They rush to the help, or rush to the aid of their teammate, rush to help, and discover quickly that there's actually not anything that they can do. It looks like these are just patrol pointed, but it looked funny because they were all rushing to the same spot. Wonder in a bit of trouble here. The forward production facility was completely ravaged and is being eaten up as we speak by a bunch of grave robbers. This is such a high skill thing to do, like, or maybe, I mean, it's not like it's a complicated thing to do, but if you want to get better at the game, this is definitely the thing to do. Start reclaiming these labs, start bringing grave robbers with your army so that you can eat up all of the things that you kill on the front lines. You're just gonna, your economy is gonna be so much better, and it doesn't seem like it, but it's absolutely critical. It's what's allowing this massive spam of units to come out here. All this metal being pumped back by it. Well, now it's just a single grave robber, but there was a few earlier. Interesting. We see some eradicators here on the front lines, tearing down a big chunk of that fighter wall. That's very nice to see. That's a very good strategic decision. Now we see a ton of units moving through. I mean, there's so many units here. How is this not a game-winning spam of units, right? Yeah, these are just T1 thugs. They'll be mopped up by a couple fiends, no problem. There's also Sheldons to help out. A little bit of fire support. Pawns coming out from the spamming factories of Hot Pink as well. And I think this is a really, really solid match for the red team here. Looks pretty dire. Shivas are moving forward too, and they're looking very healthy. They get to the back line here. This light blue player, Watch Me Do This. Not sure what that flag is. You know, my world geography is not great. I am an American after all. It's one of my weaknesses. Somebody down below, let me know what this flag is from. But Watch Me Do This. That nation player here to take a heavy hit. The fusion reactor goes down, and with it, most of that base goes away. Complaining to the chat immediately. Very, very nice. That's something I definitely expect out of a 17 true skill. You know, you can be better than that, but as soon as the base goes down, just start complaining to the chat. I absolutely guarantee you that people are going to remember you, and not in a good way. If you just start complaining into the chat whenever you lose your base. The right thing to do. Oh, look, even gifted some advanced solar panels. How kind. Yeah, the right thing to do is just start rebuilding. Right? You have the metal. Or you could go reclaim the metal anyways. Yeah, just start rebuilding. Very nice. very satisfying outpouring of bonds here. Let's see what the queues are like for these. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Green is finally pumping out units. Got the economy out just in time. Well, not just in time for Watch Me Do This. Unfortunately, had to die in order to make it happen. But the economy is finally up and running, and now there's enough fiends being pumped out every second to push back these Shivas. At the very least, discourage those Shivas from pushing forward. It's not that the Shivas can't kill the fiends, it's just the fact that the fiends are so fast that the Shiva oftentimes will miss their shots. And if the fiends can get underneath, the Shiva will friendly fire each other. And so indeed, most of this damage is probably just friendly fire from these other Shivas. That being said, Red has a tremendous amount of firepower in the back line here. I don't know how this push doesn't win the game right here. We've got a ton of Sheldons in the back line. We've got a ton of pink units, pink and orange, moving forward here. I'd love to see these Sheldons move forward. Just give them a fight command and tell them to move towards the enemy base. Yeah, the Sheldons are here, and they're not playing around. They're here to do business. There they go. They light up all the construction turrets. The advanced energy producer, advanced solar collector, also goes down. Yeah, keep going, keep pushing. These Sheldon are here to play. It's pretty bizarre, the role that Sheldon fill. They're fast enough to be like a, I guess like a raiding unit. Not really a raiding unit, but just like an assault unit. But they're an artillery unit, so they're really bizarre. they have this really strange place in this game. Now I'm not sure why this many Shiva are so afraid of fiends here. This is a little bit of a inappropriate response here. Look at green. Look at Tashula. Yeah, Tashula handing out reactors to everybody who needs them. What an absolute team player. Tashula, you definitely win the team player award from this humble commentator's heart. Let's see some hearts down in the chat for Tashula. That's the kind of bar player that we like to see here. And the northern half of the map has also fallen. I've been paying attention mostly to the southern side, but it looks like the northern half of the map has actually fallen pretty hard as well. A lot of bulls pushing forward here, and those are pretty devastating to these T1 units. They're getting into the backline economies here. Oh, don't pull it back. No, keep this bull going. No, what are you doing? Oh, that's so sad to see. Yeah, these bulls really could have done so much more damage, but they're just pulled back prematurely. That really sucks. It definitely could have been a whole lot better. Shiva down here, wipe away the rest of this base down at the bottom of the map. So with that, we are now in a sort of a north versus south happening. This tends to happen on these big maps where if one side is stronger, or rather if the strong player is up north and the other strong player is down south, then you can have a real pain. Wow, this Thor has made it really far into enemy lines though. That's pretty dangerous. Oh yeah, Thors are kind of dumb. They take forever to fire, and sometimes they swing their cannon around like crazy. But it does take down the production facilities, takes down the units. It's starting to wipe away Red's base, one fatal cannon shot at a time. There goes one fusion reactor. Next one just a shot away. It goes down as well. That is most of Red's production actually wiped off the map here. I'd love to see a self-destruct there. That's another thing that is always worth improving. Building some, or practicing those self-destructs. But things are looking pretty dire here. What just blew that up? I didn't see what just blew that up exactly. Might have been some grunts or something snuck by the defenses there. Either way, we have counter Shiva here coming out of oh wow. Ajax. Ajax? We'll just call you Ajax. That is probably a word that I am grossly mispronouncing. So I sincerely apologize to you there. Ajax. Ajax. I'm gonna stop saying it now. Maybe one more. Ajax. It's very fun to say. Light green player. That's who we're talking about here. In case you're just tuning in and wondering why I'm repeating the same word over and over poorly, if you happen to be familiar with that language. More bulls here to ravage this backline, but I think those bulls that were here earlier could have done a whole lot more. Yeah, pawns are going to be redirected here, and the pawns aren't great specifically, but when there's, you know, 400 of them, there's not really a lot you can do. So yeah, the pawns do manage to mop all of this up. One bull left. I guess it's going to get some hits in. Go down with a fight. But yeah, for the most part, blue kind of fumbled that attack on the northern side there, and so I think for the most part that is all going to go down. Now this push is mostly being held here. These Shiva, you can see you group up your units like that, and those Shiva are going to have a field day. They absolutely love to use their AoE shot on a nice big clumped up patch of units. Very, very nicely done by the Shiva here for the light green player of the blue team. Is an enemy Juggernaut? That is an enemy Juggernaut. It is looking relatively healthy. It's pretty dangerous here. It's just marching forward. Not a care in the world. Juggernaut, they don't have much to worry about in this world. Sure, there's Ragnaroks. Sure, there's Calamities. Sure, there's nuclear bombers. Aplenty. But you know, the Juggernaut, they keep cool and they march forward. After all, that's what we like to see. Now go ahead and self-destruct this now. This is getting dangerously low, and you don't want to give it to your enemy team here. Oh, there we go. You know, I was sort of joking. I didn't actually expect it, but actually, big props. You know, you actually did self-destruct it. You didn't quite get the timing right, but you did self-destruct it. So for that, I have to give you props here. Now, these Shiva are under assault by a bunch of these negotiators. Negotiating with missiles, very nice. Very diplomatic. We see a single Thor push through here, routed to try and find some sort of weakness here. The problem, of course, is the vision for this blue team. They can't, you can see they just can't see anything. They don't know where the enemy production is. They're just completely blind. And it's not, I mean, it's just hard to get that vision out when the enemy has such a tremendous lead and especially has such a presence over the entire field. Really, really hard to get that vision out. But if you can, then you can actually manage to do a tremendous job of striking strategic positions here. Like down south, I mean, there's these units right here, but this whole area is free, so you could definitely move some units down this way and then in the base this way. Or, of course, you could keep pushing through this northern side and then around the back, which is kind of a weak point here for pink. Either of those are great options for the blue team here that is now put into a corner. I mean, the teams have kind of, I mean, if you just spawned, or if you just clicked on this and you jumped to a random point in the video, and this happened to be where you landed, it almost looks like the spawns for this team are the northeast corner and the southwest corner, right? Like there's a box right here and a box right here, and that's where they spawned at. No, this was an east to west game. This was completely left to right, and it just, you could just see just how weirdly this game has turned out here. The Shivas have finally broken loose of this, and I would love to see some reclaim bots, some Twitchers or something, moving out to actually eat up all of this metal lying here on the floor. Is there a constructor? Yeah, let me take a look here. 24,000 metal. I mean, you could get your economy up and then some with that much metal. I'm actually curious where the economy is for this player. I guess it's nowhere. We're just producing Shiva at a breakneck speed of like once a minute at 49 economy. Ooh, shurikens pulled to the front lines here. That hurts quite a bit. Love to see some fighters moving in. We do have them. It's not this player whose fighters they are. Hope Dev fixed this MF tick shit. I don't quite know what they're talking about as far as like what is wrong with the tick that they're specifically complaining about. It's a unit, it's cheap, it's fast, it's light, doesn't have much health, but it is annoying, I'll grant them that. T1 medium tanks now spammed out. I guess we just needed something a little heavier, a little more expensive to spend our metal on. Oh, okay. T2 bot or T2 vehicle plants. T2 Air Labs. That's the words that I'm trying to say. Very good commentator, very good caster. Very good job using your words here. Yeah, I mean, we're starting to mount a pretty bold defense here. None of this is protected by anti-nuke, I might as well point out. We have 0 anti-nuke coverage. Yep, this is a good point to self-destruct here. Okay. These Thors pushing through are getting quite a lot of value, though. I mean, at the very least, they're diverting these forces away from the front line. It's easy to think that these pawns are basically free, right? Like killing them doesn't really matter, but they do cost something, and they are thrown at your front eventually. So it is nice to pull them away. Like, you can see there's going to be this huge lull in pawns on the front line here now. Also, don't forget those starburst missiles. Those can be very, very important. Paralyze this entire group of pawns with a single missile. Boop. Remember, you cannot paralyze the Thor. It's unparalyzable. Shurikens are here. They have arrived. Good heavens. Finds a production facility for Red, who's been slowly trying to rebuild here. The Razorbacks now moving in, and this is actually a really dangerous amount of Razorbacks. Razorbacks have a high enough fire rate to actually keep up with the spam of units here. So this is actually a really good unit choice to make a push with, since most of the enemy's aggression is basically done through these pawns here. Just double checking that they weren't grunts. Yep, great job. Just step the Razorbacks away just a little bit. They're going to outrange all of those pawns and absolutely devastate them. The only way to get the jump on any of these Razorbacks is to group up a bunch of pawns and then push them in. But if they're just trickling in like this, those Razorbacks are going to have a field day. Tons and tons of bombers here. Wow. Those bombers getting tremendous value. Going after the economy here of green. Are they going to get it? Ooh, looks like they won't get the economy. They won't get the fusion reactors anyway. Very, very important that those fusion reactors stayed alive, otherwise this green player was in a lot of trouble. The Razorbacks have now pushed forward. They find the economy structures here of light pink. They light them up like a Christmas tree. There goes a lot of the energy production. The construction turrets also go down here. Yep, Shuriken's not great against these either. They can aim their guns upwards, so they can take down anti-air just as well. Razorbacks absolutely chads of the Armada unit world. You can see they shred all of this unit production from light pink here. This is giving blue the opportunity that they needed in order to bring the rest of their units in, the rest of their army composition. So now you can see that these shredders are out here to take down the aircraft. The Razorbacks, has even a single Razorback fallen yet? It doesn't look like it. Yeah, those Razorbacks, man, they are tough. T1 units just don't cut it against them. That's for sure. Yeah, this is excellent unit composition here. We have the lightning tanks for anti-aircraft, we have the shredders for anti-aircraft, we have the bulls for a little bit of health, and then we have the Razorbacks, of course, which are just a phenomenal unit all on their own. Juggernaut here, but just run past it. Yeah, absolutely. Just keep moving. Run past that thing. Get a big hit on this economy back here. These Razorbacks. Ooh, go after the fusion reactors here. Yeah, there we go. Fusion reactor lights up, and that is yellow down the drain. That wasn't all of yellow's production here. There's still another facility back this way, but it's a huge amount of it. And surprisingly, I think we have a comeback here, folks. Yeah, dare I say, we might actually have a comeback story here. Green and blue have pushed out all the way to this front line here. You can see this entire army has been pushed back. This is a story of complacency, right? These teams got used to having the advantage. They stopped building their economies, and one by one, they have been slowly dismantled by this team here. You can see the economy from green has just continued to grow despite that tremendous bombing run. Looks like these are stuck a little bit. You do have to tell these not to just repair all your buildings for the next 45 years. It's kind of an unfortunate side effect of those bombing runs, is that it'll leave your advanced fusion reactors in a bit of a state. Better than leaving them blown up, though, right? See the Juggernauts pushing forward, but at this point there's enough units to deal with them. I mean, they're looking pretty healthy right now, but, well, this one is not. And the Juggernaut goes down. This is very nice, putting a bunch of artillery spiders up on this hill. That looks absolutely devastating. I would not be happy if I saw that. Also, we see a keeper up here. When's the last time you've seen like the top half of this shield bubble, right? Oh, and I guess they tap in. Well, I'll be damned, folks. Huge commendations to the blue team for actually pulling it back and reclaiming the victory there. That was a tremendous play by Del Duke, who sent the Razorbacks around and managed to snipe not one but two different bases, shutting down their production completely. The green players here on the southern side of the blue team broke out of their cage, managed to push down into the southern area, and eventually pushed back the hordes. Just goes to show you, folks, don't stop growing your economy. Yeah, you can see here. The players here, they kind of trailed off. They stopped producing economy. And blue, however, never stopped scaling. Yellow did a good job of not scaling, but eventually you can see that drop off right there was where the Razorbacks took out the economy. Green also doing a phenomenal job of keeping the economy up and ahead of the other teams. Orange was the last one, but again, at that point, yellow had already been cut off. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why there was this huge spike here. Maybe just took somebody's base or whatever. Either way, this is a phenomenal game, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you'll consider subscribing down below. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers now. I think we hit 760 recently. Absolutely phenomenal. And I love to have all of you lovely people joining the Brightworks. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.